Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got the entire Bogey Proof staff here. Joey, Matt, Eric, and myself, Mike, ready to kick it off. We just finished the Players Championship and we'll do a little preview of the Honda Championship staying in Florida this week. But Eric, where are you coming from and what are you sipping on tonight?
I'm home in Virginia in Charlottesville, and I've got a beer from Terrapin out of Athens, Georgia. It's their Luau Crunkles. It's a hazy IPA. It's as Joe would say, quite delicious.
I may have had that on a previous episode. I've had that company on a previous episode.
This beer, this is probably one of my top 5 beers. It's very
good.
Yeah,
very
I love
good.
this beer, especially this time of year. It starts to get a little warmer out. It's refreshing. It was a pretty easy pickup at the grocery store today.
Oh boy.
Joe, what do you got?
Finishing off the review, boys. Figured why not, right? We got Bud Light Seltzer, out of Office Edition. Watermelon Mojito. I will say not quite my favorite flavor. Well, I'm not going to say the words because I wouldn't go there. Not a big watermelon guy, not a big mojito guy. So, this one's not for me, but kind of just had to take one for the team, let it ride. Figured I'd give you the review, but here we are. Maybe next week's a new week. Fontaine, what do you got?
I got a little Argentina red wine this week. I don't know. There's like a little bit left on one of the bottles on my on the kitchen counter. I figured I'd finish it off. I'm only having one drink tonight, so why start a new bottle? But Mike, what do you got over in San Antonio?
I think this is a first in Bogey Proof history. I am not drinking on tonight's episode.
Woo.
I have my big thing of water.
Yeah, boy.
It was a tough stretch this weekend. Hit the body pretty hard. Friday through Saturday, and definitely was feeling it on Monday, and haven't quite fully recovered here on Tuesday. But got a good sweat in at the gym on Monday and went for a run today. So getting kind of where we need to be, but definitely I think this is a week off for me. We got a big travel back to Chicago on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So got to make sure I'm at top shape to get some work done, and then also kind of travel and, try to stream games and there's a lot of things going on this weekend. So got to make sure, the mental's right, the body's right, and we can be successful with what we're trying to get done. But let's jump into the Players Championship this week. I'm just going to start off with JT's performance on Saturday and Sunday. Pretty much flawless golf, I would say. I think he was 60, 64 on Saturday, correct me?
Yep. 64, 68.
68 on Sunday.
Yep.
And just the way his ball striking down the stretch, the way he hits long irons, really took advantage of those par fives and did the things that he needed to do. Some interesting things going on in the groups, behind him, kind of in that last group, Lee Westwood and Bryson DeChambeau, just kind of all over the place, to be perfectly honest. And, we got them 2 weeks in a row after being in the final group at Bay Hill. But Matt, what was kind of your take on, JT's play on Saturday and Sunday, and also kind of the people following, maybe focus on Lee Westwood and, Bryson, but also Brian Harmon, Corey Connors played well. Shane Lowry, give us kind of your take on him.
Yeah, so obviously JT stood out. I mean, I was lucky enough to watch his middle 6 holes on Sunday, which he was burning everything to the ground on, and like club twirling everything, showing a lot of motion out there, walking stuff in the hole. Just he had everything firing on all cylinders from hole 8 or 9 through 15, until he missed a short one. Maybe it was 14, but he missed one to kind of get him back on earth. But he was lights out. Really impressive stuff on Sunday afternoon. Especially the conditions were definitely a little bit harder than they were on Saturday. But JT might be one of my favorite guys to watch when he's in the zone like that, because it may not be the best quality golf like a guy like DJ did at the Masters or, over the last 6 months to a year now. But he wears like his heart on the sleeve, and you see when he's locked in, like he doesn't hide it. He doesn't try and stay level like DJ is always kind of known for, just, going with the punches, or, even when he gets it going well, he doesn't get too far ahead of himself and get excited. I kind of like the fact that JT is just raw emotion one way or the other, right? And it makes it super fun to watch. I mean, we were texting back and forth watching JT fucking on whatever hole he made the eagle on. I think it was 12 or 13. like following through and slamming that thing in the hole, picking it up out of the hole and like being like, let's fucking go. Like just different level of locked in and like executing what you're seeing, and like all around golf is incredible. I just love the emotion he shows while doing it. And then obviously shout out Lee Westwood, guy's 47 years old, back to back final groups with Bryson, who's, you know, the young distance king. And Lee Westwood does it a completely different way, obviously. Didn't quite have the Sunday he wanted from a ball striking perspective. He kind of, obviously when coverage really started on hole 4 for, you know, that final group, you get the Bryson top and making a 6 from the pine straw, and then Lee Westwood hitting a big flare slice like we're all us amateurs are very familiar with, but you don't usually see on the Pro Tracer on the PGA Tour. So, you know, shout out to Lee though, you know, battled back, actually played really solid on those last 6 holes or so to get only one back of JT, and actually had a chance, obviously, come down 18 with the birdie would have sent it to the playoff. But all around, really good couple of weeks for Lee, who's on the PGA Tour is kind of a resurgence for him. He's been a little bit quiet, obviously good European Tour, but good to see him have a couple good weeks for one of the older guys. And then lastly, Corey Connors, really, really solid last 3-4 weeks. I feel like every time I'm watching him on TV, striping or flushing an iron within 15 feet, and he just hasn't had the putter to be able to cooperate with him for all 4 days yet, but he's striking the shit out of the ball, and I'm sure he's going to do really well. I don't know if he plays this week. I don't think so, but whenever he plays next, man, he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out if you're gambling for like a top 20, or, you know, he's going to be in the mix. He's just hitting it so well right now. It's hard to be out of place. Eric,
He's
Joe,
gonna
I don't know
be
if,
he could be a stud in the President's Cup here.
yeah,
Like just someone who figures it out, and you could pair him with anybody. Like you said, right? If the putter cooperates, hits the driver pretty damn straight and surprisingly long, and then the iron play is really good from kind of a funky swing, I would say.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Joey, could you kind of give us your take on? I know you didn't get to watch a ton this weekend, but kind of what you saw early in the week. You know, maybe I know we were talking a little bit about the golf course before too, kind of,
Yeah.
you know, how you thought that played, and a couple interesting aspects about that.
No, yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, didn't really get to watch much. I caught caught a little bit of it in the shop this Sunday. While it was on, but we were, a little busy, so I wasn't able to watch much. But I did get to watch on Thursday a little bit more. And while I don't remember the play as much, I just kind of remember watching Jordan and someone being happy with what he was playing, how he was playing. So it was good to kind of see him continue to contend. But as you were just kind of saying, Mike, the golf course, we briefly talked about it before, and it's when I was watching on Thursday, like that course, just watching it and like looking at the layout more, it looks like a course that, it's a place that it's kind of gone up on my bucket list just after kind of watching it this weekend. And, after being down here in Florida for the past 3 winters now and being pretty lucky to play some pretty great courses down here, it's, you want the opportunity to play some others and kind of compare them. But, that course, I think I've said it before, like I feel like a lot of courses down here are the same, but I feel like that one is just so different. And I think because it's so hard and, you just got to hit the ball so well there in order to just kind of keep it in play. Just, it's not a course I want to kind of go play right away at the moment, but it just looks like a fun layout, even though it's challenging. So, I mean, one day, hopefully I'll be able to, make the trip and go play there. But it just seems like a really unique golf course. And I don't think I've ever played a Pete Dye course. So I think it'd be really, cool to play there. I don't know what you guys think about the course overall compared to some other Florida golf courses and anything like that in your previous experiences, but that's just kind of my take on that course after I was watching it this week.
Yeah, I think it stands out from Florida golf, and I mean, I may be way off here, but personally, I think it stands out in the way that they use water and bunkering to like
Yeah.
double down in a lot of places, right? Like, most places you see, and there's probably like a cost reason to this too, but most places you see, if it's lined by a fairway, or sorry, if it's lined by a bunker or water, it's like one or the other on either
Yeah.
side, right? It seems like this place, it's water, then a layer of bunkering, then the grass, and like obviously around the greens is crazy with the undulation and the kind
Mhm.
of bunkering and water again, right? Like it just seems like there's no single shot, whether it's off the tee, an iron shot, an approach shot, that doesn't have both of those in play, whether on the same side or on opposite sides against each other. That I think for most Florida golf, I just don't think it challenges you that much on every single shot.
Mhm.
Obviously, Florida golf is known for having the water and the bunkering and whatnot, but never every single shot, every single hole. And it just seems like there, it's like you almost you have to play out of the bunkers so well that week to win there because you can't
You can't.
possibly avoid them all week, right? And you just have to be able to, not make doubles when you're in them and try and get up and down as a relatively high clip and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
if you're missing on the other side, that means you're missing on water, and that's just like you said, it's such a challenging golf course, and I think it's because of that factor that if you're avoiding one, you're hitting it into the other. It's not
Yeah,
like there's a
exactly.
bailout, right? There's no bailout on either side.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a really interesting golf course, and we'll get a handful of Pete Dye golf courses later on this year too. But this is definitely kind of his crown jewel, I would say, and right, it makes sense the tour owning it and putting a lot of money into it to ensure that it becomes a top level course and a course that challenges the players.
Now let me ask you this. I mean, do you guys think that island green is, gimmicky or Mickey Mousey, however you want to say it, for a course like that? No, because I saw something online that like some people thought it was. So I just want your opinions.
No.
No,
I think
End of discussion.
I mean, as long as they
One
keep
of the most
it
iconic holes in golf.
all right. It's just a question. You don't gotta get so defensive. Jeez. Golly, Eric.
As long as
Was
they keep it
was
firm,
the
it keeps
tournament a major?
What's that?
Was the tournament a major?
Yeah, I think it was. For the amount they played for, the heart, dedication, it was major-ish.
heart and dedication.
Yeah, I mean, what JT's caddy Jimmy Johnson, he
Really got caught checking, right?
yeah, I think he pretty much won the equivalent of the Kenya Open winner's check this week on the European Tour. So
Might have got more.
maybe more.
Yeah.
I don't know what the check is over there. Usually European Tour events are like 400K. The Africa events are quite a bit smaller. So probably in the same range for toting the bag for 4 days and getting his horse around. But Eric, kind of to kind of close us out on the Players Championship, who kind of caught your eye moving forward? Who you think's gonna play the rest of the year? Maybe might have a chance at Augusta, or just maybe coming out to win their first title.
So I'll save some quick preview. My pick for this coming week is Taylor Gooch, and he really stood out to me, especially the way he played on Sunday. I feel like we haven't really seen his name up around the leaderboard too often, and he's a younger guy, good buddies with Max Homa. And it was nice to see him up around the top of the leaderboard in a big event, really for the first time, and play well. Comparatively kind of like to Doug Gim, who is a little bit younger than him, a little bit less experienced, but 2 weeks in a row kind of was up around the top of the leaderboard and really played pretty poorly on Sunday. So I'd say Taylor Gooch is really one guy that stood out to me the most watching on Sunday. And then I kind of going off of what Matt said about Lee Westwood, it's been pretty impressive what he's been able to do these past couple of weeks, just kind of playing his own style of golf compared to especially Bryson, the guy he's been paired with on Sunday 2 weeks in a row. I don't know how sustainable it is if he's kind of just on a hot streak, because it seems like every time I looked up at the TV on Sunday, he was making a 6-footer for par. But you got to tip your cap to Lee Westwood too for kind of going out there and also to having a good time through all of it. So I guess those are the two guys that stood out to me the most on Sunday, even though Lee didn't play as well as he would have wanted to. It's still, again, nice to see him up around the top of the leaderboard again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he definitely adds a little bit of uniqueness at the top of the leaderboard that we haven't had in a while, as far as, Phil won Pebble Beach a couple of years ago now, but we've seen Stricker and Jerry Kelly play well for a couple rounds and things like that. But really, someone to sustain and play well for multiple weeks in a row and have a chance to win 2 weeks in a row is pretty impressive at 47. Has had some success at the Masters, hasn't gotten it done. Um, but someone who plays well, and I would think he's probably climbed up. If he wasn't in the top 50 before, he's definitely there now. Um, to get an automatic bid to Augusta and be fun. I think him and his son played on Monday, actually after the Players. So he's jazzed up to experience that with his son, but also kind of be like, hey, my game's pretty good right now. Let's see what I can do and come April. But yeah, great weekend. And Matt and I didn't get to watch a ton of golf here in San Antonio when he was visiting, but we definitely were keeping an eye on it. It was fun having him. We went out to lunch one day at the Riverwalk, and there's normal conversation going on, and I'm getting updates from Matt in the corner on what's going on at the Players. So that was fun, and we didn't get an opportunity to play any golf really, but we hit the range, and we're working on our games, then also working on the other guys in the house, and making sure that they felt good about their golf games. One of our good buddies was going to play with his partner that he works for on his job on Friday. So we brought him for a tune-up, and he had a really good time. So when I kind of think about what the game of golf is too, I thought that was a lot of fun. He was super nervous when he got the invite on Tuesday to go out there and play a nice golf course with a partner that he really respects and has done quite a bit of work for. And he came back Friday and had a blast. Had a couple beers on the course. He was all jazzed up. He had all par threes in regulation, and kind of all those cool things that happen. And I think at the end of the day, their relationship, with him and his partner, were that much better. So he's just going to be a better accountant and auditor and be a more valuable member of the team because of that one golf round. So a lot of good stuff going on. And I already kind of touched on it. I am definitely struggling here on Monday and Tuesday to recover. Fontaine, how are you feeling after, a bunch of golf in Florida and then a little San Antonio bender here?
Yeah. Sunday was not fun. I had a lot of time either in the airport or on an airplane, which is never good after the weekend, as you're kind of discussing here. Like you said, drank a little bit Thursday night and played cards, nothing crazy, but kind of started it there. And Friday and Saturday definitely did not hold much back. And then so Sunday, it's just a very sobering experience to pack it all up and get to the airport and sit on the airplane and all that fun stuff, which was a pain. But I worked out yesterday to try and just sweat some of it out, and then I quickly was made aware that I'm back in Connecticut. It was 30 yesterday, 32 today. Like, that kind of sucked. So that kind of, it brought me right back to it really quickly. Didn't give me much of a chance, but we're slowly getting back there. Definitely need to go on a diet or a juice cleanse or something the next few days after just the eating in Orlando that continued in San Antonio, and the drinking really didn't slow down either for the last 10 days, I think it was. So I'm definitely ready for a cleanse and a diet and working out. I need to just totally reset for a couple weeks here before Augusta comes up, because that's probably gonna be the next event that I get excited for. But yeah, no, it was good. I mean, played a lot of different card games with the guys and some other games I probably won't ever play again. But shout out Connections for anybody listening. But yeah, other than that, it was a good time. San Antonio's awesome weather, cool views, good, the city was fun. Downtown Riverwalk area was really cool. It's just different lay of the land out there, honestly, too, than what I'm used to. Really just flat, big open skies. I'm not a very traveled person. That was my first time in Texas, so it was pretty cool. And it was a good way to kind of wrap up the Florida thing and and stretch out the warm weather vacation as long as I could.
Yeah, no, it was a blast having you, and we'll have to make a trip all together at some point soon and play some golf and do that. But Eric, could you kind of tell everyone, where they can listen to these podcasts and some of our other social media?
Yeah. So podcasts are available pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Primarily, most people are on Spotify and Apple Music. I don't know what other platforms people use, but we're available there. Instagram, you can find us there with our bogey proof picks, putting out some fun content there with some swing reviews of some friends sending them in. Twitter, Matt's kind of leading the way with the Twitter. especially during these events, kind of providing some commentary to go with the play that we're watching on TV. We're gonna have the Twitch cooking here pretty soon with some European Tour content, maybe a little bit of stuff to look forward to in the Masters. Maybe we get some live Twitch going on during the Masters, and then the Bogey Proof blog, kind of just where we write our blog posts about upcoming tournaments or anything that we're looking forward to in the world of golf.
Yeah, no, great stuff. And I want to highlight a couple things you said. I think we're trying to push out, and Joey's been working through some swing videos and making sure that, pretty much every week we're going through and posting a swing video with some thoughts. And I think not only the people that send in their swings, but other people are learning and taking a drill that might work for them, and bringing it to their golf game. So we're pushing through with that. And I think also too, we've got some pretty good responses to our cocktails that we've been putting on the Instagram and Twitter and YouTube as well. So, if you have any ideas or anything kind of like, hey, I think this would be a really fun cocktail to make for this tournament, or kind of a different liquor that maybe we don't know about, or kind of something extra fun that you want us to put into one of our cocktails, we're all ears on that. If you watched this week, we had a fun Texas style painkiller, which I think would it would be fun if maybe people sent some videos of their, like, hey, give us a New England style painkiller, or something like that. I think it would be fun to kind of get a little back and forth on that as well. But
yeah, send us, tag us in a story or send it back to us when you're, joining in on the cocktail of the week with us and watching some golf or playing golf, whatever it is. Let us know. We'd love to know your experience with it, because that painkiller, like, definitely got the job done for me on Thursday. That thing was strong. I was a little heavy on the pour with the no fun cap there. But yeah, let us know if you guys join in on our cocktail of the week, and tag us in your stories or whatever it may be, and let us know you're kind of joining in on the fun.
yeah, no, for sure. But another thing outside of golf going on, we had Selection Sunday for March Madness. So we got 68 teams ready, slated to start playing on Thursday, I believe the play-in games are, and then the first weekend is Friday through Monday, and all culminating. I think the Final Four is Saturday, April 4th, and then the championship on Monday, April 5th. So we had a nice little stretch here of college basketball. For our people that like to gamble on golf, I know they're going to be putting in a couple bets on the college basketball games. And did any of you guys really, did you watch Selection Sunday? Have you watched a bunch of college basketball? Eric, kind of, who do you like? Are you going with the hometown Who's, or, what are kind of your thoughts on March Madness?
The University of Virginia Cavaliers are the college basketball equivalent to watching Jordan Spieth play golf. They are a roller coaster. And even though I've lived here for 4 years in Charlottesville, haven't really jumped on the UVA bandwagon. I don't know, nothing against them. I just haven't really kind of hopped on some of the teams. I think Gonzaga is going to be my pick. I watched a fair amount of college basketball this year, and I feel like there's been other years where people have said that they're kind of head and shoulders above everyone, but this year more than any other, I think they really are head and shoulders above anybody else. And I think that they've got what it takes to kind of pull off that perfect season that they've got going right now. Other than that, looking forward to watching UConn. They're in kind of like their sweet spot as a 7 seed, so they can definitely make some noise right there. And then I'll go sleeper pick. I think Texas Tech is going to be good. I think they're in they got a 6 seed. They play some really good defense, and it's going to be a weird tournament. Every single game is being played in the same venue. That kind of football stadium venue where we typically don't see a lot of scoring to begin with. So I think a strong defense that Texas Tech has could prove to be very valuable, especially in those early rounds where sometimes the games end up being closer than they really should be. So those are the 3 teams I'm looking forward to watching the most.
Yeah, no, I like that analysis. I didn't even think about, the football arena with the majority of the games being played in Lucas Oil. I know the first couple rounds they're playing at like Pinky and I think they play at like Purdue and
Yeah.
Indiana for a couple games too. But so I think that's an underrated thing on the betting too. Like you probably need to look at the location on some of these games, and the books are so good they know. Like it's not like that's flying under the radar of a book, but you know, right? Maybe there's an upset to be had, just based off a venue or something that evens the playing field a little bit more. And if a book doesn't catch it, maybe it's an opportunity to catch an under, or have one of those, have a 14 or a 15 seed only lose by 10 or 12 instead of those lines that are 18, 22 often. Um, but yeah, I like those picks, Eric. I would say the one team that's really kind of caught my eye, and they won the Big 12 tournament. I think Texas. I think Shaka Smart and his newfound hair uh, is gonna get back to the Final Four and possibly win a national championship. So 10-year anniversary of bringing VCU to the national championship, and finally as a team, you know, in Austin that can get it done. A couple really good guards and some NBA talent in the front court. Found their way into a 3 seed, and it's a pretty favorable 3 seed in kind of my opinion. Michigan's the number one in that league, and Isaiah Livers being out for Michigan, second leading scorer, and really their most talented player, that hurts them. And so if they can get past Alabama, I think in the Sweet 16, I like Texas to gather a little momentum and possibly shock some people, and maybe get to the Final Four, and they're my pick for the national championship as well. But I I agree. Gonzaga's really good. Slugs at point guard kind of gives them an elite guard that they haven't had since maybe ever. Maybe Dellavedova is probably the most recent like really good guard that they've had. They've had a couple good forwards and kind of stretch guys that from Europe or Australia that have been solid, but definitely gives them a lot of talent, and looking forward to watching them play. Haven't watched a ton of college basketball this year, so can't say I'm going to dive too deep into there. I know really the chalk, and pretty much going to stick with that, I would say. But Matt, what are kind of your thoughts? Have you looked into the bracket too much, and who do you like?
Yeah, I started filling out the bracket today during my little lunch break at work or whatever. You guys definitely bring up some, obviously, like some high profile teams or whatever, and I like the Gonzaga. I think they're gonna be Final Four. Like I almost that's one of my for sure, like ride them to the Final Four, and then maybe pick around and see what happens there. Just because I feel like a lot of people are gonna pick them. So in order to win a bracket contest, you usually got to get an outlier. I think Baylor is really good too. I think my kind of underdog sleeper team, whatever it will be, whatever you want to call it, is going to be like Oklahoma State. I think they have the best player in the tournament, and that usually fares well for those kind of teams. You've seen Steph Curry do it with Davidson as a 10 seed, or Trae Young with Oklahoma. Like these guys that just, they just take over games because they're that next level talent, like, first round NBA talent. And they kind of are able to take their team further than their, team as a whole probably should get. But I honestly can't even think of his name right now. I'm kind of blanking on it, but he proved that in the Big 12 tournament when they beat Baylor, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Baylor's
Cunningham.
arguably the best team was arguably the best team in the country all year, other than maybe Gonzaga. And he, had like 23, like 8 and 6 that game, and they won in a pretty tight one. So I think he's going to kind of be my fun team to watch, even though I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done all the way through to the national championship. I think they'll make a lot of noise and kind of get into that Sweet 16 Elite 8, and it'll be fun to watch him kind of, single-handedly kind of take over games and be that player to watch day in and day out. Joey, you got any basketball takes down there?
Nope. I got nothing for you guys.
Joey's just waiting. Joey's just waiting for the Yankees to kick off. So
Thank you.
But
That's
yeah,
it.
I also want to shout out Sister Jean and the Loyola Chicago. What are they? Ramblers. Kind of got screwed, honestly, to get an 8 seed and have to possibly play Illinois. In the second round after winning the conference championship and really kind of dominating a decent league. I think they had like 26 wins this year, like 26-4. And were ranked at the end of last year. So little bit disappointing to not see, them get a little bit better seed and see how that works out. But excited for a possible, all Illinois matchup too, with a lot of buddies that went to Illinois, and also a handful of people that I know that went to Loyola. So could be some fun banter between those people if that matchup happens on Sunday, I believe. But let's dive into the Honda Classic. It's tough. It's a tremendous golf course. It just we got a not a great field this year. I don't know what kind of is going on down there. I think it's a tough spot in the schedule. But Matt, could you kind of give us just a little bit of insight as far as like what's going on, and exactly why the field's not as strong as as it has been in the past?
Yeah, like you said, awesome golf course, right? They always talk about the bear trap, 16, 17, 18, really good finishing holes there. Tiger's played here a number of times. I believe he's won a few times, probably. It's always, Sanjay won last year over Tommy Fleetwood. Those are some, high profile guys in their own right. And it's such a good golf course. And I feel like it's always talked about in that Florida swing. It's really surprising to see the lack of strength of field this year. Part of that, there's a couple guys that are relatively household names. I mean, some kind of newer guys on the scene, whatever, but like Gary Woodland, Scott Piercy, Doc Redman, they're all out due to COVID this week, unfortunately. Obviously, hope nothing too serious with them. It seems like none of them had any too crazy of symptoms or anything like that, but being precautionary, especially with Augusta around the corner, you don't need to take any risks that are unnecessary, but miss out on a few guys like that due to COVID. And then I really think the biggest factor is just, with the schedule rechange a couple years ago, I think, and then obviously COVID messed up everything last year as well with this tournament, that it's just scheduled around so many more high key, big payout events. I mean, you had WGC at Concession, then you had Bay Hill, then you had the Players last week. Like, you have all these big events that have ridiculous purses. I mean, we talked about the Players last week, but the WGCs are, above a normal tour event, certainly above the Honda Classic. And then you have Augusta looming in a couple weeks. I mean, you have to really, and then with the WGC before Augusta too. So you have two WGCs, the Players and Augusta, all within 3 tournaments on one side or the other. And it's really tough if you're not playing well and you need to figure stuff out, this is the week you're going to take to go home and figure it out, right? If you're not going to miss out on the purse at the Players. I mean, you saw Victor Perez last week made the cut on the number with a putt from off the green on his 18th hole on Friday, like a 30-footer, played awesome on the weekend, made 340K, finished like T9. And he was one putt away from 40 feet. If he didn't make that, he goes home. So you have that kind of opportunity with the Players that obviously is not available this week at the Honda. I mean, if you have a good weekend, you can always, make a ton of money, but to make that big of a jump, it's not in the purse. So I think a lot of players just choose this week, given the schedule. It's like, okay, let me take a week, even if they're playing well, take a week off and give my body a break before I go with the WGC and the Masters coming up. Like, there's too many things around it. And unfortunately, it's just victim of the schedule. We kind of saw it at Pebble this year too, right? Pebble's iconic golf course, one of the best in the United States as a public course. And I mean, granted, we had a great finish there because Jordan Spieth decided to find his game that weekend, right after Waste Management. And like we've said many a times, he's one of the funnest people to watch on the planet. So with him kind of saving that tournament, right, that it made it seem like it was a good field, or, you didn't notice the weak field. But I don't know, it's going to be tough this week. I mean, you're going to have, come Sunday, you just hope that there are a handful of obviously household names in there. You got Ricky Fowler, you got Daniel Berger, you got, some solid players, but just the overall depth of the field just isn't there. I mean, there's 30 guys you go through this field this week that you look at them, you're like, no chance. Like, you don't usually say that about a PGA Tour event. So I think it's just an unfortunate circumstance of the schedule change that happened a few years ago. And I think we're just recognizing it more because, last year we didn't realize it with COVID happening, and the year before Tiger played in the Honda, so nobody cared who else was in it. So yeah, unfortunate. Like I said, it's a really good golf course, but I'm hoping the weather and the golf course gets to show out this week, and maybe the changes stuff for next year. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of an interesting spot in the schedule and a little unfortunate, but I got to bring it up. I just saw something. I was checking my phone and I saw on Instagram that Tiger Woods just released a comment saying that he's back in South Florida. So, um, you know, with the tournament being in the Jupiter West Palm area this week, um, good to see that Tiger is going to be back home in Jupiter and recovering from there. So maybe I think probably too much to ask for this week, but coming up here in the next couple of weeks, it will probably get a video or some sort of additional statement from him, kind of, and just kind of see how that recovery is going. So glad things are working out well, and everything went well in Los Angeles at the UCLA Center, and all that good stuff. So looking forward to him coming back and having some comments from him. But I think let's kick it off into picks. Eric, you gave us Taylor Gooch being your pick for the week. Is there kind of anybody else that you think has a chance to play well this week, or possibly a young guy that you think could maybe be a good value pick for like a top 20?
I'll go with opposite of a young guy. I'm gonna go Shane Lowry. From just kind of doing some brief reading of what the conditions are going to look like this week. Looks like it's going to be probably pretty windy at the Honda Classic this week. Obviously, he's an Ireland guy. You grew up playing in the wind, and also too, he seems to play well on tough golf courses. So Shane Lowry is probably going to be my second pick behind Taylor Gooch. There's a couple other in there that I know you guys picked as your normal pick, so I'll stay away from those. So, and on that note, I guess we'll just kick it right over to Matt.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Eric. He's the only guy that's won anything here. So if you're going to listen to anybody's picks here, I would tend to lean towards Eric at the moment. He's got 2 wins, and as a group, we have 2 wins. So Eric's got something figured out that we don't yet, but, eventually the law of averages, we got to get one. Everybody's got to get something here. So I'm going to go Adam Scott this week. I think Adam Scott's just the best player in the field. I don't know if he is by ranking or not, but I just think he's the best player in the field. With obviously that golf swing is perfect visually. It's pleasing to watch, and he's actually been playing pretty solid in this swing. Last week, shout out to the players. First 3 rounds, his total proximity on 17 was 5 foot 9 inches. It was like 10 inches, 6 inches, and then like 2.5 feet or something crazy like that. So impressive stuff. He's obviously a top tier player. He's been good for a very long time, and whether there's people ahead of him, I think Sanjay is probably close with him in the world rankings. I could be off in that, but I feel like Sanjay is probably the next highest rated player or whatever, and he won this last year, and it's kind of always hard to defend, especially your first time defending. So I'm gonna go with Adam Scott this week. Joey, who do you like?
It's funny that you mentioned my friend Sanjay. It's crazy that you mentioned him. I'm seeing that the field is so weak, and I honestly, I don't care for many of the people. It was tough to come to this decision because of that point you just made. It's tough to repeat, especially when it's your first time defending. But I'm gonna stick up for my boy Sanjay. He's gonna hold it down. He's gonna hold down his title, and he's gonna redeem himself. So I'm going Sanjay as my pick. I'm looking forward to watching him play. Hopefully he can pull it all off like he did last year. And I do need to obviously point out that my other guy, Kierdek Effie Barnrat, the rat himself, is playing. I was gonna pick him. Don't know if he's much of a sure thing quite yet. Got to prove himself out there on the tour. So give him time. I'm excited. Hopefully I get to see a few shots of him. So excited to see him play though. Mikey, who are you going with?
Yeah, no, Matt, I like your pick, Adam Scott. Beautiful golf swing. That just hit some really good short irons, like you talked about on 17, but also played well really throughout the week. So, and had some success on the West Coast too. So I think he's definitely trending there. Sungjae M, main staple on the tour really the last 2 years, and someone definitely that will contend at a place that he's won. And then Eric kind of going with someone who's had some success early this year and played well last week. I'm going to go with someone, Eric chatted about the wind being picked up this week. I think one of the guys that hits it really low on tour and hits it really solid is Joaquin Niemann. So he's going to be my pick this week. I think he won at the Greenbrier a couple years ago now, and he's played some really good golf the last 12 months and kind of been in and around the leaderboard quite a bit. And I think just being, a Latin guy in South America, I think it's just a comfortable I think it's just a comfortable area. And, um, I'm pretty sure he lives in the area when he's not home. So I think this is going to be one that, we would expect him to be one of the betting favorites. I think he's in the top 50 in the probably like top 40 in the world at this point anyways. So one of the stronger players in the field based off world rankings and probably based off odds. So expect him to play well this week. And, looking forward to the Honda Classic, though the field's not great. But before we kind of sign off, I also wanted to bring it up for those that didn't know. Coach Downs' 84th birthday today on March 16th as we're recording this.
Hey, it's my sister's birthday today too.
Is it really?
Let's go.
It is.
Coach Downs.
So drink to
Shout
them.
out.
Yeah. So, I wanted to bring that up, and, for a lot of the people that listen to this, they'll know Coach Downs. He was a golf coach at Western New England for a long time and happens to be my grandfather as well, but definitely someone that kind of, brought, Eric, Matt and me together on the golf course. And, we got lucky enough to know Joey while we were there at school too. So, definitely a figure that kind of, without kind of having that direct connection, kind of made Bogey Proof happen, in the early days. So, and definitely a source of a lot of stories and a lot of laughs that we bring back to the table when we get together. So Fontaine, do you have kind of one thing that kind of stands out on what Coach Downs is all about, or kind of something that just makes you think like, damn, like he's just a crazy son of a bitch, but he's a great dude?
Oh boy. One good Coach Downs thing. Oh boy, where do I even begin? I mean, this might be a little bit of more of a personal thing, but he's always his his saying for with most college athletics, right, you have a 48-hour rule for drinking. So, and it's in college they have to enforce stuff like that because that's primarily what you do when you're not in class in college is drink. But basically he being the golf team, and we don't have to go run around and work out, and we don't have that physically stressful of an activity to do compared to other sports. He was kind enough to give us a 24-hour rule, which even then I'm sure was, flirted with by some people. And his test every time he went to get in the van to travel, or even if we were meeting at the course for a tournament, whatever it would be, he'd look you in your eyes. He's like, if I see any red in your eyes, I'm not letting you in this freaking van, and you're going back to your dorm room. And he's like, I got 6 other people I can call and get in this van. He's like, I better see no red in your eyes on Saturday morning or Friday morning whenever you travel. So I think that pretty well, summarizes the kind of guy that Coach Downs was. And, he'd give you a little bit, but, don't stretch it too far with him. And he wasn't afraid to tell you to get the frick in the van, or, get the frick out of the van, whatever it may be. So a lot of good Coach Downs stories. I'll leave that one at that. It is his birthday, so I'll leave that one at that. And, I'm going to have to give him a call tomorrow, wish him a belated birthday.
Yeah, I appreciate you keeping it tame, but, I know Eric has a bunch of fun stories, but we'll, if you guys are interested in hearing more about Coach Downs and some of the mannerisms that he was out there, reach out and, maybe extend something that you had saw. And, I think one thing just to kind of bring it back to mostly golf related, whether you striped it down the fairway or like hit it okay off the first tee, he'd ask you if you could bottle that. Like not super high expectations. He's just like, was it like remotely near the fairway? And he'd ask it. Like you could hit it 350 down the center or like 240 on the right edge, and he was ready for you to go and kick it off. So yeah, definitely had a great experience with him as our golf coach, and a lot of fun stories. But boys, I appreciate you jumping on here, and always good seeing you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.